Please tell me I'm not the only one who coaches the main character in the movie when I'm watching it. Let's see if this is working. Did we advance a slide? We didn't. Oh, this is... There we go. So this is me watching the movie. Get up, Frodo! Come on, get up! You can do this! Okay, I'm technically yelling at the TV, but it sounds more elegant when I say coaching. Get up, Frodo! You're so close. You can see Mount Doom from there. Just keep going. When I'm watching a movie, I get really invested in the main character's quest. It's easy to do that, right? But I recognize that the challenges these characters are facing are often unimaginably hard. But come on, man, keep up hope. You can do this. The film's not over yet. I have to acknowledge that in the particular case of The Lord of the Rings, I'm being very unreasonable in my coaching. Because when I'm watching The Lord of the Rings, and sorry, I want to just make sure you're familiar with the plot, there's the elves and the dwarves and the hobbits and this magical wizard, and they got to take this whole evil ring across the world and throw it into a pit of lava, and there's a whatever. By the time I'm screaming at Frodo at the end of this third film, he's already been impaled by a spear, he's been impaled by a blade, he's been impaled by a spider. That's just the impaling. He's escaped death 12 other ways. There it is. He's escaped death 12 other times. He's walked 1,000 miles through snowy mountains and cursed bogs. He hasn't eaten in days. The ring he's carrying is ruining his soul. So yeah, he's going through some things. But still, come on, man, get up, keep going. And I realize as I'm shouting at this television that I already know he can do it. Like I've already seen the movie. I know that he will, in fact, do it. And in fact, even if it's the first time you'd seen it and you hadn't read the books or anything, it's a film that's described as an adventure, not as a completely depressing film. How weird would it be if Frodo gets to Mount Doom, and then he's getting all ready, and then Sauron comes in and just kills him? What an awkward exit to the film that would have been like, wow, did not see that coming. And I learned this about exciting, adventurous films as a parent, because when my kids were little and they would be watching a Disney film, and there's always some like tense moment in the film, right? And the kids start to get really animated and worried, and I pause the film and I say, all right, look at me, kiddos. This is a Disney film. Do we think Mulan is going to die? Or do we think she's going to win and they're all going to live happily ever after? And the kids would take a breath and they'd go, I think she's going to be okay. And then we go back to watching the movie, right? Because we know that they're going to live happily ever after in a Disney film. You already know the outcome. You can then be enjoying the emotion of it. Now, the difference between what Mulan goes through and Frodo in The Lord of the Rings is degree of terrifying adventure. Right? Mulan goes through some things, but Frodo's story is, I would say, unrealistically hard. But here I am shouting at him, keep going! Because it's so much easier to coach someone else's journey. I think we call that armchair quarterbacking, right? Which I find myself doing every Sunday when I watch football. I'm shouting at these incredible athletes to stop getting tackled, as if that's just all they need to do next. But the difference is in football, I don't actually know how it's going to end. I have not seen the end of this film yet. I should disclose at this point that I am a very keen Packers fan, and I watch the games assuming that they're going to win because they win a lot more than they lose. But then, unlike a film, sometimes they actually lose, and I don't know what to do with myself. It's like watching Frodo fall down and then just die. Sometimes I guess the orcs win, and the orcs in this case would be the Minnesota Vikings. Anyways, don't worry, there's 2 more Vikings jokes coming up. In this month of December, we're not talking about The Lord of the Rings. We're talking about this practice of choosing hope. In our celebrant team conversation around the idea of choosing hope, we spent a lot of time thinking about how hope is different than a wish or an expectation. A wish is fleeting, and an expectation is a prediction that's neither good nor bad. It's just data. But hope implies that it's going to turn out okay. So, for example, I expect that tomorrow will be wintry. It'll be cold and snowy. That's built on data. But I hope that tomorrow will be a wonderful day, that it will be filled with beautiful experiences. When you're watching a film, when you're watching a football game, you watch it with hope. Oh, I hope Frodo makes it. I hope the Packers win. And that's very different than watching something with realistic expectations. Frodo Baggins is supposed to be a 3'6" hobbit with no skills, no training, and the ring he carries will decidedly ruin him and all of his teammates. The enemy he faces is an evil god. You hope he wins, but you don't expect him to. There's only one person in that whole fellowship of companions who has reasonable expectations, and that's a human named Boromir, who rather famously says, and you can already see the picture in your mind if you're my age, one does not simply walk into Mordor. Not with 10,000 men could you do this. By contrast, Gandalf, the magic wizard, offers hope. He says, despair is only for those who see the end beyond all doubt. We do not. It's a lot easier to watch someone else's adventure. It's satisfying in some way to look at someone else's journey and bring a hopeful perspective. I think of it as a kind of love language. I love this person, and I can see that they're at this very tense moment in their film, but I'm cheering for them. It sounds like this. It's when your dear friend is struggling in the grief of losing their loved one. You hope for them. You love them, and you want them to get through this. I hope you find a new normal. I hope you find joy in this world again. I hope you find love again. Come on, Marcia, get up. You can do this. So easy to watch someone else's adventure and see it with hope. You know that your friend is stuck in place with this new challenge in their lives, the diagnosis, the divorce paperwork, the job loss. But you're seeing it as part of their quest. Come on, Dan, get up. I know you can do this. That's how we love people sometimes, is to show where they are in their journey and bring hope to it. And how much harder it is. How much harder it is to apply that hope to ourselves. To see our own selves as protagonists in an unfolding quest. To see any hope in your own story after you've been impaled by the spear and the Morgul blade. You're currently wrapped up in a web by a giant spider. There's a realistic response to that situation. I'm doomed. Because the thing about life is it's a lot more like watching a football game than a film. You do not know how it plays out. And sometimes it doesn't go the way you wanted. Which makes me realize that as I'm yelling at Frodo on the TV, who, by the way, cannot hear me, that's not hope. I already know he's going to be fine. I'm not technically choosing hope when I scream at these movie characters. I think I'm experiencing empathy with a little bit of transference. I think it goes like this. I see you, Frodo. You are exhausted. You are beaten down. I know exhaustion. I know what it's like to feel beaten down. Can you show me the idealized version of me? Can you show me the me I want to be who gets back up? Hope is that choice to go beyond what's in front of you, knowing that you may yet get disappointed. Packers fans have expectations. Vikings fans have hope. Just testing the waters there, okay? All of which leads us to ask the real question today. What is the point of choosing hope? Can't we be rational, evidence-based people? When we were talking about this in our celebrant conversation, one person said, hope is a helpful, positive self-delusion. I loved that so much, I wrote it down word for word. Hope is a helpful, positive self-delusion. So I got lost a little bit in the social science research, and it appears that they were correct. Dr. Shane Lopez is a researcher in the psychology of hope, what a mindset of hope does for people. Dr. Lopez's research says that people who choose hope recover faster from illness, they respond better to pain, they live longer lives, they have lower levels of depression and anxiety, they have better, richer relationships. And this is where you and I would say, yeah, I'll bet if everything in your life is going great, you choose hope. But we've got the cause and the effect reversed. Hope is like gratitude. Remember, it's not that you'll become grateful when you're finally happy, it's that you become happier when you choose the practice of gratitude. Just in the same way, it's not that you choose hope when everything's going well, it's that choosing hope helps things go well. And let us be clear that hope is not the same thing as happiness. To quote Muhammad Tahin, who is a journalist who's writing about Dr. Lopez's work, quote, "Hopeful people are not spared from darkness. They are often the ones who have known it most intimately. The difference is that hopeful people haven't let the darkness convince them that that's all there is. Hopeful people still grieve, they still get depressed, they still struggle with fear and doubt and failure. But somewhere inside, hopeful people carry a seed that says, this is not the end." Hope is not a mood, it's a perspective. This is not the end of your story. This is not the end of your journey. The situation in which you are stuck may yet get better. That's a kind of perspective, and we call that perspective hope. So choosing hope improves our lives, but what happens when we don't choose hope? As another celebrant put it, without hope, life is excruciating. And the evidence bears that out, too. The absence of hope is what we call despair. And to quote the journalist Tahin again, despair is the erosion of belief that change is possible. It's a fog that makes the future look unreachable. A fog that was in our children's story as well, yeah? When we lose hope, we lose the ability to see ways forward from where we are to where we want to go. It's a devastating spiral. The more hopeless we feel, the less capable we are of finding a way forward, which makes us more hopeless, which makes us less capable of finding a way forward. There are a lot of these things that we talk about month to month that come naturally for us as Unitarian Universalists. Compassion, we could talk about that all year. Generosity and gratitude, bring it on. But hope, I don't know that hope comes naturally for many Unitarian Universalists. I may be wrong. But I wonder if it doesn't feel evidence-based, practical, realistic, and rational enough. I wonder if it feels squishy or woo or childish. If you want to be scientific about it, choose hope. The evidence is in favor. Hopeful people make better decisions. They live better lives. I've been, to be honest, very stuck recently with something in my own life. I'm fine, but I just wanted to name that there was something in my life that I felt very stuck with. My mindset had become, this is how the situation is, this is how the situation will always be, and it's terrible. It's a kind of soul-destroying feeling. I can't affect this in any way, I'm just stuck with this horrible thing. And I could feel that impenetrable cloud starting to settle in, the powerlessness of it all. And the more I became aware of the feeling, the more I felt like I was actually dying inside. I wonder if you can relate in your own journey. That hard scene in the movie. And here, as I was feeling all this, I was writing this sermon. And I realized as I was putting this together that I had pivoted to a very hopeless perspective on that particular part of my life. And so I tried to apply what I was talking about. I imagined the quarterback for the Packers lining up, seeing that the defense is about to blitz and going, I guess I'm just going to get sacked. That's just how this is. That's a terrible game to watch. I'm imagining Frodo seeing the first orc that runs his way and going, I guess this is where I die. What a dumb script. And so I realized as I was putting this service together that I'd forgotten that quarterbacks have special plays they call when there's a blitz. That Frodo has a cool sword specifically for fighting orcs. I forgot that I'm a contributing screenwriter to the film of my life. And so I heard this little voice. Get up, Steve. Get up. You can do this. But like Frodo, I'm not big enough to defeat it. Like a quarterback, I don't control the other 11 people on the defense. And so I recognized that my despair perspective meant that I was putting myself into the same stuck situation over and over and over, and then just wishing that it would go away. So I changed one small thing in what I do this week. Nothing sweeping. It's not worthy of a blockbuster film. It wouldn't show up on an ESPN football reel. I just stopped doing the same damn thing over and over this week. And it gave me just a sliver of mental space to find a doorway in for some seed of hope, to remember that the film is not over yet. I bring you good news. You have given yourself piles of evidence for why you can be hopeful. Exhibit A. Go back in time 10 years-ish, 2015 plus or minus. You were struggling with something in 2015. I don't know what it was. It might be in your family, in your job, in your schooling, in your health, but something in 2015 was keeping you up at night, worrying you sick. Everyone has something in the film that's really tense, right? Something that was very hard for you. Here you are today, right? When I think about some of the things that completely unraveled me 10 years ago or 20 years ago, and then I think about today, I look back and I laugh. I laugh out loud. Part of it is I cannot believe how much better things turned out than what I was forecasting it to be. Part of it is laughing with an embarrassment that I poured so much energy into one work relationship or one worry about a job interview. If I could go back in time, if I could send a postcard to myself in 2015 or 2005, yeah, those were particularly interesting years. If I could send a postcard back and say, it's gonna be fine, signed Steve Seek 2025. What a blessing that would be. What a blessing. Can you imagine sending a postcard back to your 30-year-old self, if you're on the other side of 30, saying, it'll get better, buddy. This practice of time-traveling postcards has been one of my favorite spiritual practices in life. For those of us that project all the ways things can go poorly, it is a great practice. Choosing hope is like piano. You got to do it. You got to practice it. So I invite you to think about something today, December 7th, 2025, where you are stuck. It is what it is. It's always going to be this way. This is where the orcs get me. Don't pick the biggest, scariest, most traumatic thing, and maybe don't pick national politics. Not right now. Just pick something moderately stuck in your life. You got it? Let's bring hope. What are all the ways this could yet turn out beautifully? That this could be a scene in the film that you are the star in. You need to fast forward the film 5 years, 10 years, 2030, 2035. You can see yourself on the other end of this moment. See, this stuck place that you and I are in our own lives is a dramatic scene in an unfolding journey. Hopefully you picked up a little postcard at the desk. If not, hopefully we can send a few around. Now, this is not just a normal scrap of paper. This is a time-traveling postcard. It will be sent to you today, me, December 7th, 2025. But it's being sent from you in 2030, 2035. I know some of us are going, 2035, that's optimistic. Right? But it's going to be sent from future you to present you. Take your postcard. We're going to fast forward to a scene in the future after this hard thing has been resolved. I invite you to write a message on the postcard to your present self, like, Dear Marcia, it's you from 2030, you found love again. Dear Dave, it's you from the future, you found a job, it turns out it's better. Postcards are brief. Do not write an essay. Don't get lost in details. Just write a few words. I'll give you a minute. In the interest of the cookies that await us, I'll keep going, but you can continue to write the card. But I invite you, if you have gotten the general message written, to come back to 2025. How do you feel? How do you feel? Let us be clear with one another. Hope is not a strategy. It's not a game plan. We still have to figure out how to get through this part of the film. But hope allows you to see that it is in fact possible. Maybe you will in fact simply walk into Mordor. I think that's actually what he does. We gather together in this community, in our Sunday services, in our small groups, in all the ways that we gather as First Unitarian, to be a kind of fellowship of companions for one another's adventures. Now, Frodo has a dear friend, Merry, who's another hobbit. There he is. And Merry says, "You can trust us to stick with you through thick and thin to the bitter end. You can trust us to keep any secret of yours closer than you keep it yourself, but you cannot trust us to let you face trouble alone or go off without a word. We are your friends." We are your friends, dear one. You will not face these troubles alone. May you be filled with hope, strengthened by the fellowship of this community, and rooted in love for all the adventures yet to come in your journey. May it be so.